Pero pensamos que riesgo su salud por...
Smack saying, whoa, what did I just get hit with? Those are the two memories from that fight. Golovkin was not just like every other dominant fighter. He left you with images. He left boxing with permanent images.
Are we going to see Daniel Geale? Here he is against Martin Murray. Well, against Murray, the knockout streak was on the line. He was fighting in Monte Carlo. He had to go all the way into the 11th round against the very tough Martin Murray. And for a while, it looked as though the knockout streak was going to come to an end, Max.
Right, and then he lifted Murray off his feet with a shot.
That's right. There's one of those body shot knockdowns as Murray takes a knee. And that's a smart thing to do for a fighter against a puncher like Golovkin.
Yes, it is, because if he hits you with another body shot, it could be over with. So take a knee, get a break, then come back and try it again. But for us, we know it's just a matter of time before Triple G catches him with another body shot.
Yep. And that was the second knockdown of Murray, but ultimately, this fight went into the 11th round, and the knockout streak was on the line, and Golovkin was searching as he sent Murray sailing through the air.
Sent him sailing through the air. This was not as distinct an impression as some of the other knockouts that Triple G scored, but yes, he sent him sailing through the air on that punch. And by the way, guys, notice when he's not as worried about what's coming back. Boy, he did good body work against Murray, didn't he? He needs to take the mothballs, dust the mothballs off, and do that body
Here
work.
Here comes another iconic moment. This was against Daniel Geale of Australia in Madison Square Garden. And against Geale, who was skinny compared to Golovkin, it was obvious that there was going to be mayhem at some point, and Roy Jones, Golovkin just fired away.
They just fired away like Max said. When there's nothing really coming back at him, he's a totally different fighter. He uses body shots, he uses angles, he uses all of his weapons when nothing's coming at him. But when something's coming back at him sometime, we only got 8 body shots in the whole fight. So we want to see him do this in a big fight like he's having tonight.
And he was also a younger man at that point. When you're younger, it's easier to run through the brick wall than when you get older. But here comes another iconic image. Geale lands the right hand, rocks Triple G back, and Triple G comes right back, snaps up, and knocks him out with his own right hand.
Exactly right. Knocking Geale out at the moment he was eating a right hand from Geale. Those kinds of moments made him into a cartoon legend in the United States. But then it began to get a little bit different. He got hit by a lesser fighter named Willie Monroe. We speculated he was allowing Monroe to hit him. He fought the smaller Kell Brook in England. And even though he broke Brook's eye socket very early in the fight, Brook landed some meaningful punches.
Yes, Brook did. Brook landed some really serious punches on him, made him back up a couple of times, and Brook is a welterweight who came up to middleweight, 2 weight classes to fight Triple G.
And Triple G still provided thrills in this fight and really beat the hell out of Kell Brook by the end. But why was the fight so competitive early? Because Kell Brook, though a smaller man, was the best professional opponent in terms of skills that Triple G had fought to that point. And this was the first time where we all began saying, Triple G looked a little vulnerable. Is that because he's getting older, or is that because for the first time he's fighting Kell Brook, a kind of Triple G had fought to that point? And this was the first time where we all began saying, Triple G looked a little vulnerable. Is that because he's getting older, or is that because for the first time he's fighting Kell Brook, a kind of fringy contender for top 10 or 12 pound-for-pound status at one point in his career? And it was unclear what the answer was.
And it's worth noting, by the way, Brook's career has never recovered from this particular beating. The eye socket was broken again when he fought Errol Spence, and it remains to be seen if Kell Brook will ever rise to the heights he occupied prior to deciding to move up from welterweight to middleweight to fight a destroyer like Gennady Golovkin. So the knockout streak was still intact after that. 23 knockouts in a row. And that's when Golovkin fought Daniel Jacobs in Madison Square Garden. And now you got a little taste of what it might be like ultimately against Canelo. It's different because Jacobs was taller than Golovkin, but the same because he had good footwork and is a skilled counterpuncher.
Not only that, you got to see from Matthew Macklin that when he fights a guy that's big as he is or bigger than him, it poses problems. And right here, Danny Jacobs was bigger than him. So Danny Jacobs came right back off this knockdown like it was nothing and continued to even attack Triple G towards the end of the fight.
In fact, Jacobs told people after the fight that the knockdown reduced Golovkin to human for him because he felt like even though he went down, it wasn't a crushing shot. And he felt as though he could continue in the fight and be effective.
And once again, Triple G's a little older and now fighting the best opponent, not just the most skillful in Kell Brook, who's smaller, but the best opponent he'd faced as a professional. Triple G acknowledged that going in. So it's difficult to tell, wait a minute, is this because of Daniel Jacobs' style, his quality of as a fighter, his size, or Triple G's age, or some combination of all of those things? Those were the questions leading up to the Canelo fight.
So the fight against Jacobs was the last fight for Golovkin prior to the Canelo fight. Alvarez knocked him out with a series of vicious body shots. Amir Khan put up a spirited effort, but was basically too small to threaten Canelo Alvarez. Alvarez knocked him out with a throwaway left jab and a right hand crusher over the top. And then Cotto, in a 12-round loss in Las Vegas, was also probably Roy Jones.
Which is the difference in the GGG graphic. 4 of these people were former world champions. No matter whether they're too small or too big, 4 of those last opponents right there we're talking about were former world champions.
One thing about the Chavez fight was Chavez, though he wasn't really a serious fighter on that night, the idea was he could use his size and his infighting ability to get Canelo against the ropes. But afterward, told me in the ring, the reason he didn't was those counters dissuaded him from doing it. It's one thing to do that, to dissuade Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The question was, could Canelo dissuade Triple G the same way? And to an extent, he did. And that is an impressive accomplishment. He is such a great counterpuncher off the ropes that he dissuades pressure fighters from pressing what would otherwise be their advantage when Canelo's back is on the ropes.
And that's also a fact that he's learned from the experience of fighting those world caliber fighters. These guys, like you said, 4 of those guys are former world champions. You learn something when you fight them former world champions.
All right, not on the list, but fun to watch is a knockout win over James Kirkland that took place in Houston back in May of 2015. Canelo bragged to us yesterday, I did have 2 knockouts of the year. This was one of them. And watch for the throwaway jab and the crushing right hand over the top that ultimately produced the knockdown. That's early power from Canelo in the fight. Kirkland, who was iffy in his preparation sometimes, no telling whether he was in great shape or not for this one, but Canelo Alvarez was completely in command all the way.
You want to make Canelo look like $1 million? Throw him in with a pressure fighter who's just going to give him the bum's rush. Canelo will carve him up. And that's, as I keep saying, one of the reasons Triple G is a little more hesitant than in other fights to simply pin him on the ropes. He does it behind his jab. He tries to apply real skill that he picked up in the amateurs and in Eastern Europe, because Canelo is a formidable counterpuncher.
Now, Kirkland had a lot of cojones, as they say, was willing to keep coming. But Roy Jones, here comes the knockout of the year for 2015. Boom.
Throwaway jab, overhand right.
Wolf in Kirkland's corner that night. He's usually not the same guy without her.
It wouldn't have made no difference, Max, if he got caught with that overhand right.
Not even sure we've seen him since. And now here is Canelo against Amir Khan. And this is the knockout of the year for 2016. And if you see a certain familiarity, there's a reason why. In the early going, Khan, with his quickness and his fast hands, was difficult for Canelo.
The most impressive thing to me about this fight is Canelo's much more comfortable with fighters coming at him so he can counter. And Khan is a very fast, skillful fighter. But as the fight wore on, it was not just the size difference. Canelo started to outbox Khan in the middle of the ring. I was very impressed by the performance. Clearly, the weight also played a part. But Canelo's boxing skills in the middle of the ring against the fast, fleet-footed boxer were impressive.
And here comes the knockout of the year. Roy, what's the combination?
Once again, throwaway jab, overhand right.
Spectacular.
If Canelo throws away the jab, watch out for that right hand.
Better believe it, son. You better believe it.
And just as you saw Chocolatito getting down next to his fallen opponent tonight, Canelo got down on his knees next to Amir Khan, who's a nice guy. Everybody likes him. And now Canelo versus Canelo versus Miguel Cotto. This was for the lineal middleweight championship of the world. After Cotto had had an unlikely run through the middleweight division and had won 5 pounds.
But you got to give Canelo credit for winning fights in a variety of ways. Against Amir Khan, yes, he imposed a size advantage, but also boxed well in the middle of the ring. Against Cotto, he really imposed his physical strength and size. Against Golovkin, the counterpunching, right? Against Kirkland, the counterpunching. Here you see Cotto boxing well, but simply being the smaller man, Canelo recognizing that and imposing his size.
The fight went the distance. Cotto ultimately protested the decision, said that he had done a lot better than the judges gave him credit for. We at ringside agreed with the unanimous decision for Canelo Alvarez. Liam Smith is always brave, Roy Jones. He was brave against Munguia, and he was brave against Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, but you never met a body puncher like Canelo Alvarez. So he was brave, but his bravery cost him because he stood in there with one of the best head body bangers in the business.
Much like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master in MMA, where you have them on their back, which is usually where you want someone in a fight, but in that case, they have you right where they want you. When Canelo's back is on the ropes and you're opening up, he has you right where he wants you, like Wilfredo Benitez back in the day, Roy Jones.
Yes, sir. Best defensive fighter of all time to me.
Left hook to the body that finally wrecked Liam Smith. We've seen that reaction. We've seen that reaction so many times from that punch, which I always say, single most valuable weapon in boxing. If you can throw that punch, the left hook to the body, you will make a lot of money in professional boxing. Chavez Jr., like I say, kicked it in before the fight ever even began. This was no competition at all.
No, it wasn't no competition, Jim, because he couldn't get what he wanted. He thought he'd be able to push Canelo against the ropes and have his way, but when he pushed Canelo against the ropes, it seemed like he was getting hit more than he was in the middle of the ring. So he quit going and pushed him against the ropes and just started circling him and standing in the middle of the ring.
The guy who could really test Canelo's countering off the ropes is Julio Cesar Chavez.
Falta 21 minutos, te voy a empezar. Ese es de no sé los que peleó tiempo pasado. ¿Y este pelea con el hijo de César Chávez?
You're Cotto, you're 32-0, and you know that there's something special you can dig down and try to find. And he is trying to find it right now. That's what top fighters do.
Oh, he just got tagged there with the right hand. And if you're going to be, especially if you're going to be a great or legendary fighter, this is where you find out.
He's hurt once again.
Yes, he's hurt badly right here. Trying to stay awake.
Oh, the uppercut by Margarito nailed him too.
Cotto's wobbly. A lot of blood from his mouth. Margarito wearing him down. Wow, did he steal that round at the end, guys? With a harder punch?
I think most definitely.
Oh, there was that nod to his corner from Margarito as if to say, yes, I think I've got him. And Cotto, there was an age before he was able to sit down. He was sort of leaning forward on the ropes before he finally was able to sit down at the end of that 10th round. It was getting hard and pretty painful to watch.
Yeah, it was getting hard to watch that because by now any lead he had was essentially gone, and you can't see him turning it round because the pressure is so much, the power of the punch is so much, and you know, you would see some trainers at this point, some trainers looking after their guys would have pulled him out at this point because there's no way for him to go. There's nowhere for him to go, and there's no shame at all in that. But you know, he gutsed it out until it was battered out of him.
And that 3 minutes we've just significant effect on Cotto's career, regardless of what he went on to achieve subsequently.
Well, yeah, you can argue that this fight took a lot out of him. It was the accumulation of punches that he took from round 7, really.
Contragólpense hace unos momentos.
Y muy bien el Maza, manteniéndolo ocupado, utilizando el jab y combinando también con el gancho de derecha.
Pero enseguida lo hace retroceder. Es otro de los hombres que pega justo y no desperdicia golpes. Bueno, es una combinación como para sintonizar a un hombre en el boxeo bastante seguido, porque sabe lo que hace.
Y hoy vimos a un maestro, el Chocolatito es uno de los mejores haciendo eso. Qué bien le está pegando el cuerpo en ambos lados.
Y observe cómo se quita el golpe y vuelve, ¡pum!, derecha al cuerpo.
Uy, ahí lo conecta. Primero mano derecha, luego mano izquierda. Y utiliza la mano derecha solo para tocar y desconcentrar al Maza Ortiz.
3 golpes consecutivos, otro más arriba, sigue conectando, le dobló las piernas. Hay problemas acá ya en el primer round, el Maza se ha encontrado con un tigre con todos los dientes, ¿eh?
Sí, necesita tirar golpes. Lo abraza aquí para tratar de frenar. Retrocede un poco, pero trata de regresar al centro del ring. Golpea el cuerpo y lo castiga Virgil arriba. Bien ahí el Maza Ortiz, pero no pudo conectar la mano izquierda. Ahora tirando golpes. Espera, mueve cintura. Suelta a la derecha. Falla, pero se tropieza un poco el Maza. Lo separa el referee Vic Drakulic. Creo que hemos tenido referees muy altos en estas peleas, Juan, y el más chaparrito es en la de los más grandes. Utilizando el jab Virgil. En el centro ring, termina el round.
Paralo, no lo puedo sacar. primer round que promete mucho para este otro Ortiz, que no tiene nada que ver en cuanto a familia. Y una noche difícil, ¿no? Para un entrenador que es un buen entrenador,
sí,
pero se le tira Roberto Ortiz.
sobre todo porque Virgil ha sido avasallador y verdaderamente lastima. Podemos ver el rostro del Maza, que ha hecho un buen trabajo, está golpeando, está tirando también para tratar de mantenerlo ocupado, pero no ha logrado contrarrestar la fuerza.
Claro.
Vamos al round número 2. ¡Uy! ¡Qué buena derecha logra conectar Virgil!
El hombre no tiene 10 knockouts en 10 presentaciones de gusto, de casualidad. Vic Draculis le dice, bueno, ¿está bien? Ok, te doy el pase.
Y aquí va de nuevo. Virgil va sobre del Maza Ortiz tratando de cuidarse, agachándose un poco más y cubriéndose bien. Suelta el jab, pero muy tímido, tratando de mantener distancia. Esa mano derecha de Virgil verdaderamente es potente con todo y la defensa. Ahora la tira al cuerpo, tira arriba, tira abajo y lo manda a la lona nuevamente. Logra conectarlo con solidez.
Bueno, ya esto es muñeco al suelo en repeticiones.
Sí. Arriba, arriba, porque acuérdate lo que pasó con Matías.